I can G flat and C flat. I did horribly on that. Actually, I got to go back here and fix this. I needed to graduate faster. E flat, A flat, D flat. There we go. And I made a shortcut, G flat. All right, now, and so what we did here at the bottom, the D flat is 5 flats, C sharp is 7, but they would sound the same when the D flat and C sharp on the piano, they'd sound the same. Same way with G flat and F sharp, they're really the same, and same way with C flat and D. And I didn't ever write 7 flats there, 6 flats now. So, when you are put in a position to determine what key you need to write for something, especially if you're using saxophones, or trumpets, or horns, or clarinets, or those things that transpose, you may only be at 4 sharps here with the strings and the flutes and the trombones and the tubas, but that puts the saxophones in 7 sharps, and you would look at this and say, wow, 7 sharps is really tough for saxophones to play, but maybe 5 flats wouldn't be so bad. So you might choose to write the saxophone parts in D flat. And if you end up any other place like that, when you start adding keys down the circle of fifths for the saxophones, the horns, and the transposing instruments, then you sometimes need to be aware of what you have at your disposal. It's many times much smarter to write in the key of B than it is to write in the key of C flat. I question Andrew Lloyd Webber's choice of writing in C sharp major for one of those pieces when it could have been D flat. I know it's only 2 difference, but 5 flats is 2 mistakes less than 7 sharps.
Actually, it's 1 big tacet less.
Yeah, that's right. It's 1 big tacet less because we chose not to fight with some of those C sharp keys. All right. Now, we will do the circle of fifths several times. We'll do it again, of course, when we get into minors and some other times. But it's very helpful to you. If you happen to memorize your circle of fifths, that could also help you with the keys. For instance, starts with C, goes up 5 and add a sharp, go up 5 again and add a sharp, go up 5 again and add a sharp. So if you were sitting on the test and couldn't remember all of your other tricks, you could say, what has 3 sharps? Well, C is nothing. 5 up from C is G, that's 1. 5 up from G is D. 5 up from D is A. A has 3 sharps. Might be a little risky sometimes. All right, let's skip the rhythm revisited, triplets and duplets. I think we talked about those anyway. All right, let's see. We only got about halfway through. Doc, I think you might have been the last answerer. Is that correct?
Well, I believe I got tripped out of my answer.
Yeah, so we never answered it.
How did we do that?
Because you don't need to answer it because it's easy.
Oh, okay.
I'm too upset that I didn't get the answer.
Well, would you like to start on 113 just so that you get an answer? I will not intervene with your answer here.
All right. So,
Would you tell me what key that is that has 4 sharps?
that has 4 sharps, and it is... Oh, treble clef. I was trying to read a bass clef. I'm really confused. That is the key of E.
That is the key of E. And besides the fact that you just happen to know everything, if you were like others who didn't know that was E, what would you do to figure it out?
I would look to the last sharp on the key signature and assume that's the leading tone, and go up a half step and assume that's the tonic.
Very good. The last sharp is the leading tone of the key, so go up a half step from the last sharp and you have the key. All right, Noah, how about 2 sharps, the second one?
Would it be
would be D. C sharp is the last sharp, half step up from C sharp is D. And Matthew, we have lost you somehow. Can I suggest to you that you do the one with 6 sharps? It is F sharp, absolutely. E sharp is the last sharp to the right. E sharp is the leading tone to F sharp. And then, Kyle, the last one on number 1 sharp, is?
G.
G is correct. Back to the key. How many, 5 sharps there on the first one of number 2. What key would that be?
B.
B, very good. A sharp is the last one. Is that what you're using to, or you just drawing on your mass memory? Mass memory, good for you. You can also remember that B has 5 sharps because it has a whole handful of sharps. Sammy, I bet you hate it when people call it Sammy.
First time, actually.
Samuel, how's that? Samuel, how about 3 sharps?
I'd be
It would be it. And Matt, no sharps or flats. C? And 7 sharps, Daniel. It is C sharp. Say thank you. Remember that C sharp is just a half step up from C, right? So if C has no sharps, then C sharp will have everything sharp. And it's also, C flat is a half step down from C. So if C has no sharps or flats, C flats will have everything flat, right? All right? We're on number 3 now. Chris?
sharps.
Mm-hmm. E is correct. And Ryan, no sharps or flats. C, very good. Doc, how about the 2 sharps?
D.
D, he knows that key very well. And Josh, your, the last one on number 3 looks like 6 is F sharp, that's correct. And Matt, how about 4, the first one? B. And Noah, 7 sharps.
No. Wait, 7 sharps?
Mm-hmm.
C.
Very good. That's C sharp
C
again.
sharp,
Yeah. Remember, when we talk about a scale, we talk about 8 notes, but the bottom 2 are the same. So there's really only 7 different notes. So if there are 7 sharps, every one of them sharp. So that's C sharp. All right. 3 sharps for Kyle. A. And 1 sharp for the key. G. Very good. And now the flats. 3 flats to Sam.
E flat.
Good. 2 flats to Matt.
B flat.
And 4 flats to Daniel.
A flat.
And 1 flat to Chris.
F.
And 6 flats to Ryan.
G. G flat.
G flat, that's right. And no flats or sharps to Josh.
No flats.
C.
C is correct. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flats to Doc.
C flat.
C flat. 4 flats to Matt.
D flat.
D flat. Oops.
Wait.
What's that? Did you say? What's the next to the last flat?
Oh,
A flat, there we go. A flat. And then Noah, 2 flats is B flat. Very good. And 1 flat to Kyle. Yeah, thank you. And 5 flats over to the key.
We keep skipping E flat.
Skipping who? Oh, Elizabeth! I keep forgetting. I forget that some people still like to lay on the floor when we have chairs. You know these darn chairs cost like $89 a piece.
Oh.
Really? Really? because they're special music chairs.
Even though they.
Yeah.
That's
And
one.
I've had much better music chairs. Before these, we had some that had like a ridge right where you sit. As a matter of fact, up in front, I'm sorry. And so what that made you do is slide all the way to the back of the chair. You couldn't sit on the front edge, which I don't particularly like. But anyway, if you slide all the way back, then of course that the back makes your back go up straight so that you breathe right. But you can sit wrongly in these in spite of the way they're designed. But anyway, since we spend so much money on these stupid chairs, I'd love for you to use one. Meanwhile, where were we? Elizabeth is going to do which one?
The one that,
Which one?
I mean, second to last, third row.
Second to last, third row.
Well, I have a horrible case of hiccups, and I have no idea where they came from. D flat?
D flat is correct. And now the last one on number 3 would be the key.
B flat.
E flat is correct. And Sam, 5 flats?
D flat.
Did you say D flat? I can't hear consonants at your